Get up, get down. Get up, get down. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for tuning back in. I'm so excited for this episode with my brother, Andrew Larkin. We dive into so many different things, and it's full of so much knowledge. And at the end, we have a little song for you. I hope you enjoy it.
I love that.
Yo, bro, how are
Yo.
you doing?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
Good, I'm good. I'm drinking my coffee. I'm drinking my Kangen water.
Yo, you're living.
I'm living, dude. I showered in the Indespa last night, so
No
I'm
way.
feeling it.
Was that the first time you've done it in like a while? Or
Oh no, I've had the Indespa this entire time. Thank God.
I know, it's a game changer.
Yeah, if I didn't have that, I would be. I don't even know. Like without the freaking K8, not having that Indespa. Oh no.
Oh, I know. I literally like my roommate. I'm like, dude, go into my shower like whenever you want. Like, don't like. He's like, yo, Larkin, can I like hit up your shower? I'm like, dude, don't even ask me. Just close the door and you're good. It's
That's
so
really nice
weird.
of you. I know, like that's like our bathroom, so like we've been using it, but I'm like, yo, Jude and
Yeah,
Steve,
like,
like shower in
please.
there. Anyways, so how are you actually doing during this quarantine? I want to know how this is affecting you, what you're doing to deal with the stress of it, and just let's get it. Tell me about it.
Okay. Yeah. So I think at first it was so bizarre, and I think when you like you listen to what other people are saying and doing, you kind of fall into that. And there's so much negativity at first about all the shit, honestly, around it, and then like everyone's saying how this sucks and this is horrible and that everything's boring and all this stuff. And I really fell into that trap at first, and like was watching a lot of Netflix and movies, and it's so weird because it was like a month and a half, 2 months ago that flew by, and I think for the first month I was in such like a low vibrational state that I don't even remember what I did honestly through that time. And then I don't know when the turning point really was. I think it was actually when I was reading Skinny Bitch. That kind of woke me up, honestly. They have a
That's
Skinny
so
Bastard book
great.
for boys, but like I only had the girls book. But
That was
I
a
mean,
game changer for me.
95%
I read
of
that
it,
years ago.
unreal. And so I was just like, all right, damn, let's get it going. So
What was like your biggest takeaway from that book?
well, I watched a documentary called Dominion on Netflix, and that really got me into vegetarianism and veganism. But I was always like, I don't really want to go vegan because I like salad dressing, and I want a piece of pizza every once in a while. But
Salad dressing.
yeah, so like that documentary really talked more about like visuals of what they do to the animals, and this book talked about that, but also talked about the actual health benefits and like the energetic field that goes into like how we're eating a stressful, anxious, crying animal essentially, even though they promote it as organic and grass fed and like make it look like it's all healthy and fun and games, but it's just so different. And so that really woke me up. And then I was like drinking and like doing all that stuff, and I was just like, I'm just tired of this. So again, the journal. I remember I was sleeping in super late. I wasn't really journaling or writing down what I was doing, so days just turned into weeks, and I was just like, "This is kind of brutal." And then again, something switched in me, and I was like, "I could be doing like so many things right now that I've always wanted to do." Because I remember last semester at school, I was working at Starbucks Monday through like Thursday, so I'd work out in the morning, I would go to school, and then I would immediately go to work, and then I'll come home, I'll be tired, do some homework, watch something, and then go to bed. And that was my like semester. And then weekends or whatever. And so I've always been talking about like wanting to learn how to play the guitar or like read all these books or do all these things or start this YouTube channel, all this stuff. And I was putting it off so much. And I think about this time, and I'm like, all my classes are online now, and honestly, like pretty kind of much a breeze. And so I was just putting all my energy and time into things I've always wanted to do, like freestyling or getting like vocal work and stuff, and being comfortable and confident in my artistic, creative field, whether it's like writing a story or stuff like that. So I literally just started every single morning writing down what I wanted to do during the day, and I was making each day purposeful and meaningful. And I would fall asleep, and I'd be like, I had a heck of a day. And like getting outside, like now they open the beaches back up, so we're staying safe. But that is just like so grounding, and being able to surf has been a game changer. So I've learned how to play the guitar. I've learned how to play 2 songs on the guitar. I've been doing, like, vocal exercises. Let me read some of the stuff that I have in here, and then just, like, keeping up with, like, my homework and stuff like that has been chilling. Yeah, literally just there's just most of it, and then staying exercise has also been a big part of my life because I grew up an athlete, and that was just kind of like a pivotal part of me, and it's sort of like after, you create habits through, repetition, and what's the saying where you make how you create a habit? It's like repetition for
Like
a month or 3 weeks or
14 days or
14
whatever. Yeah.
days. Yeah, yeah, so just continuing that
That's
muscle.
up to debate for sure, but yeah,
Yeah.
about days.
But so that's kind of I honestly there was one day where I was working at Starbucks and I decided to sleep, and I was like, I'm gonna do every today. I'm gonna sleep in and go about my day, and I didn't exercise in the morning, and I was so tired the rest of the day. It was crazy, and I think because I am legitimately addicted to exercise and those release of endorphins that it gives me that pump of energy. Because there's a difference between, I think, like physical fatigue and emotional fatigue, you know, and
For sure.
I was physically so it was weird. It was weird because when like I'm on the couch or you're just like lying down. I remember like at home all the time because we had a huge TV. Our living room was centered around the TV. That's all we did. So we had these
Yeah.
super comfortable couches, and you could sit on there for hours. And like I'm not exerting any force, so you would think like, oh, if you're running all the time, you're tired. But I was more tired lying on my ass than physically going up and doing something because you're vibrating. You're literally energy is just awakened.
Yeah. And all like
So
the dopamine, serotonin, all of that.
100%.
You're
So just getting up and moving, and then oh my god, even so I grew up. I played basketball, baseball, football, like all these like sports, stereotypical like big sports in America, and I never played tennis before. But my roommate had a tennis racket, and we had these really nice courts, and it's super sunny outside. So I've started playing tennis, and that's honestly something I want to start playing like the rest of my life. Basketball is pretty physical and tough, but like tennis is like so beautiful, and it's like poetry in
it is
motion when you
hard.
swing it.
It
It
is
is hard.
really hard.
And once you start to get the hang of it and you start to go back and forth and get a rally, a volley, it's so much fun. So we're doing that. I got
Mom was a tennis player,
yeah,
right?
I know.
Yeah, okay.
Feel like she was garbage though. No, I love her.
No, she was
No,
not.
she was probably
was
good,
not.
but I remember going to the park when we were like really young, and she was like hitting, and I was like, "Mom, what are you doing?"
Oh my god, I
So
was
bad.
so bad at it because my arms were like so weak. It was like it's about the repetition, like you're
Oh
saying. Like
yeah,
you have to get that muscle
and
memory and build it.
it's the repetition is the feeling of like the muscle memory of hitting it, like being, and then it's so much more of it is confidence. Because when you're playing tennis, you can kind of easily just like half-ass it and do like a little chop like swing or whatever. But once you like are confident in your abilities to just fully hit it, then it honestly feels so much better. And like I'm starting to get comfortable with my serves, and like that goes with life too, just confidence and everything. You know how there's like you're on a road and there's like a 5 foot break in between. Like if you're like looking at it and scared and you're not going to make the jump. But if you just fully commit, like I'm going to make this jump, then you do it. And in life, that I think you take a
Oh,
lot
for
of that
sure.
with
That
you.
goes for so many things. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's been really big. And then recently, the past like 2 weeks, I've been reading the book of The Power of the Now and just paying so much attention to focusing on the now. And it's really beautiful because now everything's like so slow and we're really just everyone's bored. But like I hate the saying bored because you're thinking about the future, you're thinking about the past, you're not actually present in the moment. Once you accept that that is like the only time that actually exists, it's incredible. Like I was reading a quote today about someone talking about the difference between waiting and like being bored and waiting and being almost enlightened in like that moment. There's like a lot of beauty in it. And it's just a different change in perspective has made this experience honestly really helpful and worthwhile. And just I've been planning like goals and manifesting, like writing down words of you love affirmations. Affirmations are so powerful in so many different ways. And that's just I've been pretty much what I've been up to, just trying to do new things every single day, explore and have fun. What about you, huh?
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question about the affirmations because
No, yeah, cut me off
you
like
talk.
halfway through when I'm talking about something.
Oh no! I want you to keep going, but I'm just curious because I know we've talked about this, and I know this is kind of a controversial topic, but with the whole like spiritual world, or just like this awakened, more enlightened state that a lot of people are now in. And it's a lot more prevalent now, like courses, yoga, meditation, all of that. With a lot of the people that are doing this, they tend to be women, and their audiences tend to be women. But, there are a lot of men in this world. So, there's not a lot of focus on enlightening men, or, enlightening that masculine side of the female. All of us have feminine and masculine sides of ourselves. So merging those together to a true equality, unity, we need to work on the masculine and the feminine. So for you, that's why I love talking to you, because I'm so in my masculine. So I feel like that's why we like get along and see a lot of things in the same way. So my question for you is, with these affirmations, what do those affirmations look like for you? Like, you can tell me one, you can tell me five, like what resonates with you,
Yeah, so
on a daily basis.
Some of the things about affirmations is like you're wanting in the now for like the future. So you're saying I am open to abundance or anything like that. If you are like really like want to manifest money into your life, that's one option. For me, I think it's interesting and changing. I forget who I was talking to about this, but instead of saying like I will or I want, saying I am and putting it in the present, like going back to that state of being in the presence. And recently I've been on this huge journey with my eczema, and the Kangen water has been helping a lot with that. But I feel like it's because I've been putting so much shit in my body for 22 years. It takes a long time to really get it all out. And recently, one of my manifestation or affirmations have been, my eczema is healed. I would write it down like 3 or 4 times a day and like physically write it down, put it in my subconscious. My eczema is healed. And I was on the journey, and like some days it's so good, and then some days like gets really bad. I start itching again. Like there was a point where it was bleeding to the extent, and it was brutal. And recently, it's crazy, but like as I've been saying that, I've noticed it's been improving like a little bit more. I haven't been itching it as much, and it really has come such a long way. Oh my goodness,
It's like putting that intention into that.
yeah, I'm putting it in the now, not saying I will heal, like it is healed.
Yeah. And I think going off of that, it's something with like the lightning process, with like that type of stuff, is saying, I don't have eczema, or like I am suffering from eczema, or something like that, rather than, putting it onto you.
Okay. Yeah,
You know?
totally. I love that.
Yeah. So what are some other affirmations? Like maybe just some like blanket ones, like about, like, I don't know, like, do you feel as though you like affirmations for, getting a little bit of like an ego boost, or,
Yeah, like I love
getting
myself.
rid of that
I'm
fear or
beautiful.
something,
Yeah, because I feel like with social media, there's such this idea of body image and everything like that, and it's so easy to shame ourselves. And I think for me, growing up, confidence has been such a big thing. I think like my voice and like my confidence has been something that's evolved over time. And I think back in the day, I had this idea of wanting to be a super humble individual, and like going about sports, even if I was the best or knew I was the best, I would downplay myself and be like, no, 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 it's whatever. And over time, and after reflecting and kind of meditating on that, I realized I was doing myself such a disservice. Like I wasn't, and there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness, because I just personally hated those cocky assholes that were in your face. But then there are times where you're playing basketball with your buddies and you're just like chirping at them, you're talking trash, and you're being a cocky ass. Elevate to this level where you've never even played before, but you always had in you. And once I like thought about that, that hit me. I was like, I have so much more in the tank than I've been like letting on. Like what I could have done back then. I guess again, I don't want to dwell on the past, but like having confidence in yourself is so big. So saying you're beautiful, saying you're amazing, saying you're gonna make a difference, or I say like I'm a creator, I'm a motivator, I have a voice that needs to be heard, that will be heard, and I've been like doing that. And then when it comes to like manifestation, like I will make $3,000 this month, or because I feel like I don't know if you talked about this, but the idea of being really specific in your goals. Because for me, I would kind of have this generalization of things like I want to make money, but once you specify it, then that's when it comes into reality, because it's so broad. There's really no pinpoint on it, you know? So that's been really helpful. But yeah, just honestly boost yourself, because in this time where it's so easy to get down on yourself, you know, you can have all the external validation in the world, but if you don't think you're pretty or you don't think you're worth anything, then you're gonna go throughout life thinking that your entire life. So we need that positivity on ourselves. That self love is so important, and writing it down, affirming it is so big in that process.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that reprogramming of your mind. And I really just wanted to hear that from like like a man's
Oh yeah,
perspective, because I think it's so prevalent in like females and these people that are doing that, but I'm never hearing men say that,
I think
you know?
yeah, because sorry, I'm eating my figs. All right. Side note: golden California figs, the greatest dessert ever.
They really are. They're
So
so
good.
good. And
But
dates.
I think it goes back to, you know, the days where men were hunters and gatherers and women were delicates and did the laundry and cooked and stuff like that. And that has really programmed. And then you get the whole CEO thing, and there's this whole, you know, feminist movement about like wanting women to get to those positions, because a lot of women are so qualified for these positions, but because of their genetics, they don't have that accessibility. But there's such a push for men being masculine and dominant and forceful almost, that because like I remember growing up playing basketball with your boys, if you show a sign of like a weakness like crying or, you know, being soft or taking down or anything, you know, you're ridiculed. And that is still a part of culture. I think we're starting to evolve a little bit more, because I remember like about like Joel Embiid, he cried at the end of when they lost the game 7. So brutal. We're Philly fans, and it was so brutal when they lost. But he cried, and some of the older basketball players who are like all-time greats were ridiculing him, like he cried. And then some other people were saying that is so honestly beautiful that he cried, because he was so emotional and that he wanted to win so badly that it brought him to tears. And men who want to be badasses are afraid of their emotions, and your emotions, you know, kind of run the show, you know, and when you kind of seclude or keep that inside, I think that's what I've done a lot of my childhood and growing up. I kept my emotions inside so much that I was afraid to feel. And then once you let it out, you release that like feminine energy. It's you become such a balanced individual instead of just being, you know, dominant and all that kind of stuff. So I think, but I
Totally.
definitely think we're gravitating towards an age where it's okay for men to cry or men to feel. And I think women appreciate that a lot too, and finding that balance, that yin and yang. So I'm really excited to see where we go with this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think something going off of what you were saying with, you know, the emotional side of things, that's definitely something that's prevalent still in our society, but I think is getting better, like you're saying. But with all of that, you know, that's just a disservice to men and women, really, because women are then going to have to take on all of that emotional, you know, ness of a relationship, or, you know, your mom with a son or your husband, you know, all of those dynamics. But there's also such a wave still of in like advertising and stuff like that with men and their masculinity
Mhm.
that's still going on. And I think something that I'm really passionate about and like studied in college and still am very passionate about it in my industry specifically is like models and actors and things like that. Like women have their own roles and like sexualized whatever,
Mhm.
but men have them a lot too, where
Mhm.
they're over sexualized and all of these
Yeah,
things. And I don't think that's talked about enough,
it's so interesting.
honestly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But like, you know, we all have these roles that have been put onto us. And I think we're definitely, you know, pulling those pieces apart and starting to go in a different
yeah.
direction with that.
I
So
think it's so beautiful, like you looking at it like from the male's perspective, and then me looking at it from the female perspective, and just realizing how stereotypes and not stereotypes, but generalizations have become such a implemented part on our society. Like even thinking about like if I think about Europe or things going on in Africa or Asia, I am the only like if I hear something and I've learned about it one time, then that's all I associate that entire state or country with. When in reality, it's so untrue, it's unreal. And you know, word of
mhm.
mouth, it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, generalizations can go for anything.
They
And
can.
I am so one, you can ask anyone. I hate generalizations. Like I will go on a full debate with you if you're generalizing some group of people.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'll never forget I was like in this college class and basically the entire assignment that day was showing videos of people like shaming men. And I raised my hand and I was like, this is the biggest generalization I have ever heard. Like, I have, a boyfriend, a brother, a dad, and I know that they would never do stuff like this. So you can't group one gender into saying that this is all men.
Mhm.
So, anyways,
Awesome. Yeah.
enough about that.
Oh yeah.
It's something I'm very passionate about. But so yeah, going back to you with sports and stuff, I think this is something that I don't really know the answer to, so I'm curious. Is, you're talking about how you've been humble and you played sports your whole life and like you kind of suppress certain things, and then now you're not like that. So like, where did that shift in that line kind of, why, when did you jump over that line and be like, I'm done being this way. I want to like step into my power and like do what I want to do and like be this different type of high vibration.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess because we played on a lot of travel teams and a lot of AAU teams, and I've had some coaches who are like really intense and assholes, really. And it was just win, 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 and like all this stuff was so geared towards winning and being the best. And it wasn't until like honestly the biggest kind of like movement in my life or awakening was when I got mono and I wasn't able to play junior year, and I realized what life is without basketball, essentially. And then I think again the big transition was going from high school where I'm playing sports my entire life. I'm running every single day, doing all this stuff. Like in 8th grade, I was playing 3 sports a day. It was insane. And then I go to college where I might play like an intramural sport, but it loses that competitivity, the competitiveness. And I remember, what was I going to say? That I was coming to the realization about competition and like what really matters essentially. Lost that thought, but yeah, and then I got into surfing, and I was watching this documentary about, it's called the Momentum Generation, I think, with like Kelly Slater and Rob Machado, and Kelly Slater, best surfer in the world, hands down, has one of the best. He's like, I don't know, he's like almost 50 and he's still surfing, still like one of the best. And
That's
and
awesome.
there was a point in his life where he was gonna break, and he was like breaking down, he was crying, like all the pressure was just, it was so much, and there's so much pressure for competing, and competing is everything. Like you want to beat the other person, and then you realize, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this in the first place? And then I came to the realization about joy. So there's Kelly Slater, who was on one end of the complete competitive spectrum, and then you got Rob Machado, who, after competing for a while, kind of just said, all right, I'm going to drop competing competitively. I'm going to travel the world, make films, and surf because I love it, and just connect with people on a different level. So he's surfing for the reason of, I personally love it and it like fills me with joy. And Kelly Slater's doing it. I mean, I personally don't know why like his motivation like for it is, but I mean it's like for the accolades, it's for being the best and wanting to be the best. And I feel like when you kind of keep pushing that, you realize that all the material things in the world aren't gonna fulfill you inside, and that goes back to like having money versus like being materialistic versus having so little but all this love around you. And I think at the end of the day, it really does come to love. And I was thinking, once I started surfing and getting into that, I was like, honestly, I think I would hate competing if I like surfing. I have so much joy just going out there, like sitting out there, bobbing up and down, catching waves with my buddies. And if I had to put a uniform on and go out there and compete with other dudes, I think I would hate it, honestly. And growing up, like I started off playing basketball competitively instead of going playing pickup games. Now I play pickup games with my buddies and have like the time of my life. And I think once I realized that I want to do things for the joy of it instead of winning, then that's when everything settled in, and I just realized I just want to love and live and be the best version of myself. And even like looking back on myself, because when you're kids, and also I was an education major for a little bit of time, so I kind of took the perspective of the kid and then like the teacher and the adult. And I've done a bunch of camps and with like basketball camps with like little 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th graders, and I was watching them and I was just reflecting on how I was at that age. And these kids, they're greedy, they want to win, they're like crying whenever nothing, like things don't go their way. or they want it, like all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so annoying. And then I think back, I'm like, I was exactly like that kid. I wanted to win everything. I cheated to win, like that was the only thing that mattered. And even like going back to like playing Candyland or like Life, I physically remember cheating in Life. Why,
We're all
And
so competitive, though. Our whole
and then
family.
there was a time where we were at the beach, and we were playing Life again. Pretty simple rules. I don't even remember what exactly happened, but he kind of just like he was going back with like our cousin, and then he was just like, all right, I don't want to do this anymore, and just like gave up with it. And when you're like compete, like I would rather lose drastically, like epically lose, and have so much fun than compete, be an asshole, cheat, and win. Like there's no joy in that. And I feel like I think a lot of reflection has been really helpful in that, and like how I was and how I want to be. I think that's just been the biggest turning point in it, and it's all attention, perception, everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So when do you think that change happened? Like what year
Oh
of
gosh.
college?
Honestly, This is so corny, but I like honestly, I'm like, if someone asks me my life story, how am I gonna tell it? And I've recited this a lot, so I've practiced this a lot. But remember we were gonna go to Costa Rica and Panama. So the only time we've ever been, or me personally, have ever been outside the country is on a cruise to the Bahamas. If you've ever been on a cruise, you port, you land, you're there for a few hours, and you leave. So I never really got to soak in the culture or anything like that. It was so beautiful, so amazing, but it wasn't. I wanted to go to travel to see how other people live and feel the energy there. And we were packing up to go to Costa Rica, and I remember mom telling me like, and it's like she had this whole chart of like where your energy is or like where you want to be, right? And I think Costa Rica was one of them. She's like, Ant, this trip's gonna change your life. And I'm like, okay, mom, thank you, have a nice day. And and just like over those it was like 13 days or whatever, I just it was like a light just woke up inside of me. I was happier. I came back. We took pictures. Like dad looked at the pictures, like I've never seen you smile like that before. I was just like radiating. I was just happy all the time. We would wake up super early, go to bed super late. I just wanted to attack every single day, and I was living in that moment. And I came back.
Yeah, you really were.
It
You
was
really were
unreal.
thriving.
So and then that you remember Sam, the guy who was one of our tour guides, and he was talking about how he's just a wanderer and how he's never settled down, he's never lived in one area because he wants to travel. He doesn't want to be confined to one area. So, and then I came back to school. I missed the first week of school, and I knew I was gonna miss the first week of school. I did that honestly on purpose because I emailed all my teachers and I was like, "This is what's gonna happen." And I was in the middle of an education
Yeah.
program, like professional program, and I was supposed to go to an orientation on Wednesday. Ended up missing it. Had a meeting with my advisor. I don't know if you remember this conversation that we had, but I
I remember it perfect.
have never. I'm not again. I'm not much of a crier. Still, every once in a while, I want to like embrace my emotions, but I don't really cry that much. I have reason to, and I cried that day. And I've never been because I was always a good kid, didn't like breaking the rules or anything like that. Honestly, never. Don't even remember getting grounded ever. And that was the first time I've ever been talked down to, like so hardcore. It broke a part of me, and I was like, "Is this really what I want to do with my life?" So
And can you just tell me what she said? Like, kind of just sum it up really
I
quick.
was
What
like,
she
so I
said to
go
you?
in and I'm all excited to tell her about my trip and how life changing it was, and she just cut me off like after like 10 words going into that, and I immediately just felt like an energetic change, like oh shit, like this is about to go down. And then she was saying how irresponsible I was to know that I had that trip when school was like happening. And honestly, going back, I would have done it 10 times. I would have missed the first 2 weeks of school. Are you kidding me? Because like if I look back 50 years from now, that's what I'm gonna remember, not the first week of school. And and then she was
So true, yeah. And that was like a
yeah,
game changer for you
I
too. You
literally
needed to
needed
do
to like
that. Yeah.
that was the transition point in my life. And she was talking about her daughter, saying how like she would be great with kids, but not everyone's fit to be a teacher or something like that. And then this other woman knocks on the door, and she was like, "Oh, you're Angela." I'm like, "Yeah." And then I was all excited to tell her about my trip, and then she was like, "Where were you on Wednesday?" And I told her I went on a trip, and she was like, "You were on vacation," and I didn't even look at it as a vacation. Like this was an awakening. So I was getting brutally attacked, and oh my god, it was just I got the worst vibes. Like I wanted to be kind of like I love kids, and I wanted to be like buddies with them. And she was like, "You can't be buddies with your kids. You got to be a professional relationship." And then she was talking about like there was some woman I was emailing back and forth, and then I like referenced her and said her first name, and she like yelled at me for calling her by her first name, you mean like Doctor So and So. I was like, where am I right now? And then I like left
Like,
that
this is
meeting
not for me.
feeling so low. Oh my gosh, such a low point. And then I texted you. I texted you or called you. I think I texted you, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And and then you kind of just woke me up. And then I went on a different track. I honestly just went to college to graduate, and then I ended up changing a major to take like communication sociology classes, things I actually enjoyed. And the next semester or year and a half, I've been taking classes that I love, and I've just been that. It was like that moment once I made that change. It was such a brutal like 2 week span. There was just one professor that I had the first day of class. It was like the worst encounter ever, and then I got like a 50 on the first assignment. I started off with like a 40 in the class, and I ended up with like a B plus. And like I like told him like I'm gonna get myself back up, and he was like, "You're one of like the only kids to, like ever say that he was gonna do it and do it." And then I just, I don't know, something just clicked, and I was getting it all the time. And then I started to read more. I really started reading more. Like like mom was talking about this like on Monday, and she was like, "You kids never read." Like we would run around the library and all this stuff, and I would always watch the movies. I love the movies, and then once you read the books, you really realize how much better the books are than the movies, and it's freaking
Totally.
good.
But it's about
So good.
finding the right books that you
Exactly,
like. That's why,
exactly.
yeah.
And when you're reading a book, people say like books changed my life and everything, and it's not necessarily just the words. Like anyone can put words on a page, but it's you applying that, and then it changes your perception to something new, and then you look at life in a completely different way, and that's your new reality. And that's kind of what happened to me. And then I started getting into more yoga and meditation and just being in touch with nature, because we've honestly always been attached to that. I feel like mom always said we were awakened and always opened us up to that. But I've throughout my life I've really realized this. Like you can give a horse, what is a horse? An elephant water, but you can't make him drink it. Is it a horse or an elephant?
I don't know.
But yeah, so honestly, like you can't really change people. You can just kind of inspire and motivate them to see the light, really. And once you start living like your best vibrational self, then you attract other people to want to feel as good as you do. And that's once I started applying things and started feeling good a lot more, I was like, why would I ever go back? So now things are changing, and I'm just evolving to new experiences and new feelings and just being present. And it's been pretty amazing. And I was talking to mom about this. She's like, I always, because I feel like you're always like, oh, I wish I learned this like 5 years ago or whatever. But like, I'm like 22 years old, like you're 24.
24.
24. Like we're so young right now, and being open up to that is pretty amazing. Like, we got a long life ahead of us. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. But definitely that Costa Rica trip, just the energy there was different. And I remember walking on campus the first day. I was so excited. I had the jitters. It was like Friday. I just dropped you off at the airport, and I went to school. All my shit was in the car, and I'm like walking. I'm like, yeah, first day of school. And I get there, and once I start seeing people, my energy was like straight up. I saw everyone on their phones, and I was like, wow, we're back to this. We're back, and this is how it's always been. So it's crazy how when you're at that such a high state, and then you realize how low you've always been, you're like, shit, and that woke me up too. And I was one of those people 100%, like throughout my entire childhood and life and stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. I
yeah,
think that's one of those things that once you start getting in, like once you start traveling and doing things like that and having these like awakenings, it's about like bringing that emotion and feeling and that light inside of you from that trip, and putting that in and implementing that in your life moving forward, whether it's through you know the sound baths you do, or the sweat lodges, or the chanting and the yoga and meditation,
and that's
and just creating that throughout your life. Yeah.
totally. And like when you talk about the sweat lodge, this is like one of the coolest things that's happened in my life, and it's just like going for it. And again, I want to talk about being present, but we have this free yoga class at school. It's called Sunrise Yoga, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I went. I had an instructor last year, and she was amazing. I loved her, and her name was Gloria, and I kind of really wanted her again this semester. And I realized there was another name. His name was Alex. Unisex name, so I didn't know if it was a guy or girl. You go in with like an idea, and you're like, I don't know. So I go there, and there's this guy, and like he's super cool, super like chilled out. I really liked his practice too. It was very like meditative, distressing, and just I learned like so much throughout that time. And he would always ask what everyone's name is, and it was just a really homey environment. And then just like after I would go like 2 to 3 times a week. And then he had practices on Sundays at this park under an oak tree. So I started just going to that. And little did I know, I started to form this relationship with my yoga instructor. I ended up getting his number, and he's like the nicest, coolest dude ever. And he introduced me to this sweat lodge. And like he would call me now, like to go on like a jog or something like that. And like we're just like homies now, which is like so like weird. Like you're homies with your yoga instructor from school, like what? But I was just like enjoying that present moment in life, and I just like reached out to him and just talked to him because like growing up, I feel like all of us were always like we're pretty shy. I want to say I feel like you were the most outgoing out of all of us for sure, but we are still like have this reserve side to us. And then once you start just being like, fuck it, dude, like who cares, let's go for it. And you just open these doors to new experiences, and that sweat lodge was like one of the coolest things ever. And
It's like
and
surrendering to the flow.
yeah,
The surrender
exactly.
experiment.
That's what it is.
Yes. Michael Singer, Surrender Experiment. Go
Michael
read it,
Singer,
guys.
what a guy.
So good. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
curious about your experience with the sweat lodge because I've only seen it in like the movies. Like,
it was. I don't even like know if I've seen it in like what movies.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, I think it's in like The Proposal. Don't they go in like a sweat lodge thing? I'm not sure
no, no,
what
no. That's
movie.
like when Betty White, she's like, oh, no. She's like dancing in her like Native American outfit.
That is a great movie.
So funny. But yeah, I think the beautiful thing about it was that I had honestly no idea what it was. And like like when you watch a movie, I personally always do a lot of research. But if I go into a movie and I literally don't do any research, I don't know anything about it. It's honestly such a more global experience because if you have an expectation, that's like telling someone you have to see this movie. It's so funny. Like it's the funniest movie you'll ever see in your entire life. It might be so funny, but since you made that expectation so high, it's almost impossible to even reach that. So I went into this sweat lodge with no expectations, and it was the coolest thing. There was one of this one. It was like the Wakama tribe. I think I don't know if that's the right tribe, but there was this guy who's been practicing for like 40 years, and we had these seats. We had this one guy, and they would have like some of these guys had like tribal names, like Sakumi, I think. And we had this drum circle, and I learned about like Native American practices, and like the north, south, east, west, Father Sky, and the positioning of the moon and the sun, and how everything honestly has so much meaning and purpose. And like you went in oldest to youngest, like everything had meaning and value. And that was so cool. And I went with one of my buddies, and then we went into the sweat lodge. There was like 31 super hot stones. We covered this little hut. There was like a little hut, like surrounded by this little like dome in the middle where you would put the I don't even know the right word, where you would put the rocks, like a little hole in the ground, and we would cover blankets over so no heat would be escaped. And we all got in, sitting crisscross applesauce. We took our shirts off, or not like in a weird way, like guys had their shirts, girls had their bras on and stuff. But we would put 7 rocks in at a time, and then each one we would like pour a bucket of water on it, and then it would steam up, and it was like a steam room. And growing up, like I remember junior year, we went into like the steam room and the sauna a lot, and it is such an amazing experience because you just sweat out all the guck and the dirt from the pores. You just feel like a new person afterwards. And that's literally what they said. So it would start off like they had a heat gun too to make sure like no one would pass out or wasn't like dangerous levels. And we would have each round, first 7 rocks, pour it on. It was like kind of hot, nothing crazy. And then everyone would kind of talk about their experiences. And it's honestly been a while. I think the first one I went to was January, February, and we talked about a lot. It was a lot of emphasis on the ancestors and us. And there was this one woman, I think it was like Sakumi's wife, who lost her brother like a couple months ago, and it just got really emotional. But it was such a loving environment where everyone just started like crying. And then another round was about another topic, and then we would say all of our aunts, like all of the people in our lives that we lost, and then we would honor them. And it was such a beautiful ritual, really. And then each round we put 7 more rocks, poured water in it, put like sweetgrass on it, burned it so it smelled really nice in there. And then after like the 5th round, I think, or 6th round, where all 31 rocks were in, we just sat there and it was fuming, man. Like it was kind of hard to breathe, and then you really had to focus on your breath. And when you got out, it was like your rebirth essentially, and it was this perfect temperature outside where it was like a crispness in the air, and we walked out, and it was just like you really just came out of the womb. It's insane. So that was just like the coolest thing, and then I connected with like these like Native American tribe people, and I never would have had that if I didn't reach out and just like be myself with Alex, my yoga instructor. So it's honestly amazing where life can take you when you are in the moment,
Absolutely.
and just go for
Yeah,
it.
for sure. Absolutely. I love that so much. That sounds so
So
cool.
cool.
And for me in my experience, and clearly it sounds the same for you, and I think this happens to a lot of people, is that, you know, there's two parts of this where, okay, you're living in this specific type of life where maybe you're not being your full self and you're not being clear about your messages and what you want. So these people keep coming to your life that just like aren't aligning with you. And you're just like, why am I surrounded by all these shitty people? Or like, not that they're shitty, but they're just not aligning
Yeah,
with you. But then once you get really clear about what you actually want and what you care about and all of these things, people just start flowing into your life that are meant to be in your life. So, once you had that shift, then it was like one after another, just these things kept coming into your life and, all lined up to work out at the time it was supposed to work out.
exactly.
So that's awesome.
It's the energetic vortex. If you have you listened to Abraham Hicks?
I really haven't, no, but I
She's
know
pretty
who,
rad
like,
about that, and
yeah,
talking, because that's essentially the law of attraction, is what it is,
yeah,
and it's such a cool concept. And again, when you were talking, it was all about being specific and kind of knowing what you wanted. Like you could say, "Oh, I want a better life for myself," but how are you going to actually do that? What are you going to actually implement? What are you going to focus on? Who do you want to attract? Like that's another thing. You can physically write down people who you align with. Like if you want that like dream boyfriend or girlfriend, like write down like kind of the attributes that you want. So that's what like my friend Kate did. And it was like a couple weeks, maybe a month later, she found him. It was like the perfect guy, and it's funny how that works. But once you realize that everything in life is energy, like inanimate objects, everything of matter, and everything is physically moving and has an energetic frequency, then you want to vibe, and then your vibrations attract what you want, and it's crazy.
oh,
It's a beautiful thing.
absolutely. And yeah, like I've had incredible experience with like law of attraction and stuff like that. And like I know you're bringing it up. I talk about the specifics of it. And about maybe 3 years ago, I read "You Are a Badass" by Brene
Oh my
Brown.
gosh,
I think that's what it's by, right?
I have that book.
You have
Actually,
it?
I was
Yeah.
reading. I got 2 books. Oh, what was the first book? I don't even remember, but I got 2 books, and that was one of them. And I gifted it to a friend, and I think she finished reading it, so I gotta read that, get that book back. But that is on like my next list. I'm almost there. I'm
Yeah.
excited.
And I'm not sure how like targeted it is for like men, like because the language might be very feminine based. I don't know, but it's basically like Abraham
Mhm.
Hicks. Like it's the same general idea. But anyways, the book just empowered the shit out of me to be like, I need to stand up for myself and I need to do what's best for me and I need to get clear about what I want. And there was like really great examples in the book where like she had a friend that like wanted to buy this house, but she didn't have the money for it. She didn't know really where she wanted to be. And then she got really clear about like, I want to spend literally this amount to the cent. This is exactly where I want it to be. This is what I wanted to have. And it like just showed up in her life like a couple weeks later. And then she had an experience of like, she had this beater car and she kept like putting it off because she was putting herself like lower where, oh, my business isn't making a lot of money. I'm not going to be able to afford a nice car. I can't fix this car. Where she got to a point of where her car was like water was leaking into it. Like she had no choice. She had to get another car. So she went to the like dealership and she was in like a say like a Kia or something and she was like, well, yeah, this is like a nice car, I can afford this. And then she went in an Audi and was like, oh, I feel so good in this car, like this resonates with me so much more, like I want this. And she ended up buying the Audi or leasing it, whatever she did. And then her business just excelled like crazy because she put herself in that frequency of like, I can afford this because I'm abundant and this is what my business is going to look like and stuff like that. So once you create that mindset for in that frequency and getting clear on what you want, like you're unstoppable at that point,
Really, that's an amazing story. That's like because you remember
Yeah.
mom, like growing up, she would always say, money is energy. and like mom and dad have such a different like kind of perspective on it. Dad's he'll like look at different stores and try to get the cheapest price for it and everything like
That's
that.
pretty
And mom would just spend and spend and spend and all this. And
right, because she was looking at it as like an
exactly.
energy
And then she
exchange
would always say she would
thing.
just get like some random check in the mail or something like that. And that's how she lives her life, just a free state. Because honestly, like if you go into a store and you're like, I don't care about the price, I'm just gonna go. That feeling honestly is so empowering and feels so good. And then again, like you said, you put yourself in the vortex, and then things start attracting and things start clicking. And there's not that lack mindset essentially.
Yeah, and I think, you have to be a little clear about, okay, you can't overspend your means, obviously. You have to be, like, practical about it, but it definitely is, like, things that like, affirmations, I always talk about. One of the good ones that I always hear about, like, money mindset and stuff is, like, when you swipe your credit card or you pay with cash, you say, "There's more where that came from," or,
Oh,
like,
I
"I am
like that.
so grateful that I have the money to buy this," and, like, say, you have your dog got sick or something and you need to bring him to the vet and you have to pay $1,000, instead of being like, oh, I really don't have this money, I don't know what I'm going to do, be like, I am so grateful that I had this money to help the animal that I love
That's
or something.
beautiful.
And that's in terms of anything, and just looking at in like a more positive, and that money will come back to
Mhm.
you, in whatever way it is, it will come back to you. So yeah, and back to like the law of attraction and stuff like that, like in my experience, like I'm going to talk about this tenfold in another episode, but I had a lot of change in my life and I moved somewhere and I kept attracting all these people that were not aligning with me, and I was like, how am I going to find my people in this new city? Like I'm not having any success, yada yada. And then I did all of this inner work and got really clear about the type of people I wanted to be around. And I did exactly what you said. And I was like, I want my friends to be X, Y, Z, all of these things. And those people just kept flowing into my life. And now I have this whole group of friends. So, I was having this block and I wasn't voicing what I really cared about. So, like, of course, I wasn't going to be attracting people that aligned with me because no one knew what I was
Mhm.
about. Like I was lying to
So
myself and
true.
everybody else. So,
That's
yeah.
so honestly so true. Cause I can't tell you how many times I would buy something and be like, "Fuck, why am I doing this? Like, this hurts." Like, and then I would, like, physically
Right.
like, my mentality would lead to, like, a physical hurt. And I read this I forget the name of the book, but I think it was mom's friend wrote this book, and she was talking about the energy of eating and how if you're eating a food that's like kind of unhealthy, let's talk about a cheeseburger, for example, and you're trying to eat really healthy. Cheeseburger not the best thing in the world, um, but you eat it and you enjoy every single bite of it, and you're like, oh my god, this is the best cheeseburger of my life. There's like she had like a number scale or something, and it was actually healthier for her to eat it with the intention of loving it than eating something that might be healthy but with a negative energetic exchange with it. Like you eat a salad and like, I hate this. This is the grossest thing ever. It's like actually, I don't know if that has sauce to
I
this,
talk
but
about
like,
this all the time. Yeah, I totally know what
and
you're
I was
talking about.
watching. Have you ever seen Into the Wild? Like the coolest thing. Oh my
I haven't
gosh,
watched
we had to
it,
read
no.
that book in high school, and Alexander Supertramp, he gets rid of material items, like burns money to like the extent like doesn't need a car. Like he's his parents were gonna give him a car for his graduation. He was like, I don't want a car, and he's just a wanderer, just travels and just lives. It's honestly such a beautiful book and movie. And there's this one scene where he's eating an apple and he's just looking at the apple and he eats the apple and he's like, I love you. Like you're amazing. You're the best apple I've ever had. You're juicy, you're red, like flavorful, all this stuff. And he's speaking with this apple frequency, and it's so beautiful. And it's going back to that energy, how everything really is alive.
No, I talk about this all the time where like, you should just enjoy that, brownie or
Yeah,
something. If you're eating healthy most of the time, you should enjoy what, that cheat day or whatever. Like there's no need to be negative about it and, create that physical, emotional response to it. And it's like what you were talking about on your story the other day with the strawberries. Like being
oh,
in the moment with your
so
food
much
and being
better.
like, oh, this is so good. Like yeah, because so like often now,
we eat in front of the TV or a computer, we're working and eating, or on our phones, where like you don't really, you eat and you're like, where did all my food
That
go?
is the
Like,
epitome
I'm
of me,
done.
and I still do
Yeah.
that sometimes, and I
Yeah.
hate it because it upsets my stomach, first of all.
Me too.
And then I remember being with, like, my basketball buddies, and it was like a competition as to who could eat the fastest. Like, "Guys, what are we doing here?" You know? And then because once you eat really fast and then you're done, you kinda want more, you want more. And then I realized once you slow down, because I think once you, like, stop eating or once you're full, your mind doesn't think you're full until like 20 minutes afterwards. So I cannot how many times I have been bloated and like unable to move after eating because I couldn't stop. I swear I don't know. I blamed it on like OCD or something. I was like, I can't stop. And
Right, yeah.
in reality, I just needed to stop for 20 minutes, maybe drink some water or something, and then I was fine and felt great. And once I started doing that, my digestion's better, and I just genuinely feel better. So, all right, I've been reading this book called The Power of the Now. I've been really just loving it. It's been great. And there's this going back to how everything is alive. There's this one passage that I want to read. All right, it's The Power of the Now by Eckhart Tolle. Might have butchered his name. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, Eckhart Tolle.
So it says, everything that exists has being, has God essence, has some degree of consciousness. Even a stone has rudimentary consciousness. Otherwise, it would not be, and its atoms and molecules would disperse. Everything is alive. The sun, the earth, the plants, animals, humans, all are expressions of consciousness in varying degrees, consciousness manifesting as forms.
Drop the mic. That was
Right?
so good.
So true. And I feel like
Wow.
there are people who are analytical, logical, and then people who are intuitive. And I feel like when you're channeling your intuition, you can feel, or when you focus on something, you can feel the energy. Like if you look at a tree, like how many times have we probably seen trees, but have you ever looked at a tree and you can see its aura like at a certain time of day? Honestly, no, I think if you're not looking at it, you're looking through it, right? And, and you can see its aura around it. You can see the energy around things when you're actually looking at it. Like we're honestly blind so many parts of the day. It's crazy and it's so sad and we're so unopen to it. And there's so many people who are analytical and who need, like, it's like the scientist versus like the magician. Like people need science, people need facts, people need to physically see and for it to be true versus the energetic field, like the etheric world, which is we physically cannot see with our naked eyes, but we can like feel with our energetic aura, essentially. And that's
I
real, you know? I just thought of that. That's the first time I thought about that.
That was great. I love
Wow.
that. I was just talking to mom about that yesterday,
Really?
honestly. It's so great. I love that so much. So interesting. I know. Um, Going back a little bit because I know you're so passionate about this, but going off of the sweat lodge.
I'm
What?
excited about what you're gonna say. I don't know.
Going off of the sweat lodge, I know that you're obsessed with your morning routine. It's something that you love. So I'd really love to hear about your morning routine and your cold shower preach.
Oh, I've preached this more in the past like 2 weeks than I have in my entire life. And it's funny
I know.
because you say the word love, and I feel like at first I think it's just like learning a habit. It's really not something like I love or I want to do. Or there are times
No,
where
yeah.
you want to sleep in, there are times you want to do it, and love is like an interesting word in that aspect, but it really is like the aftermath of doing the work in the moment in the morning, and then the feeling afterwards and how it makes the rest of your day. Yeah, I love it now. Like I'm obsessed with it. It is so vital because once you start to see results from it, because it's just like lifting weights. It's just like doing anything like that. Like you go to the gym one time, you burn, and then you don't go again. You're never gonna see results or anything. Like if you eat healthy one day and then eat fast food for the rest of your life, like it's not gonna do anything. So it's all about implementing it and then staying consistent with that. So when I started my morning routine ritual, it's just been, again, it was like that idea of how I didn't work out, I didn't wake up early because I was waking up when I was in my like grind at like 6:30, going to the gym and then eat, like breakfast and then go about my day. And when I didn't do that, I was so thrown off. It was insane. And I feel like now, especially when there's no structure really to a lot of things, it's so easy to lose sight of our morning routine, wake up late, and rush throughout our day, maybe grab a bagel or something, then go about it, and then we're just frantic the rest of our day, which is super unhealthy for us. So now I would like set an alarm, and I'll try to wake up relatively early. I'm honestly not. I guess since I don't have like a structured day, waking up, I still want to wake up early, but I'm not waking up at like 6:30 anymore, honestly, because we should get the right amount of sleep, like 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep or whatever. But you would wake up, I'll wake up, I would make my bed first thing in the morning, right there, bang. My buddy Peyton Jones told me about this, and subconsciously, like, you do it, and you've checked something off. You have completed something for the day. You've been awake for like 30 seconds. That's a powerful feeling that you don't really think about, but subconsciously it's really really quite powerful. And then when I was in my morning routine, I would go to the gym afterwards, and then I would take a shower. And I'm gonna go on the rant again. I'm gonna do it, but cold showers are so rad, guys. So rad, because first time I did it, I always like knew like going from hot to cold is really good for the skin. It's good for the pores. It wakes you up, and it's really cool. So I would turn it from hot to really cold, and then immediately turn it back up. Like, and then it would like lag a little bit, get cold for like 3 seconds, and then go back. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Wow, that was great. That was so cool. Right? And then I saw the Goop Lab, which is on Netflix, hosted by Gwyneth Paltrow, and I think it was the second episode. I don't know the name of the guy. I need to like actually look into this guy's life, because he is something else. Like, he's a different breed. His mind is so strong, and he's won a bunch of Guinness Book of World Records for holding positions for super long, which is more mental than it is physical. And it's insane. So he had this whole show where he had like 6 or 7 guests on, and they did all these exercises and all this stuff. And then at the very end, they were in this like lake setting. There are like mountains in the background. There's snow on the ground. It's freezing cold, and they're in their bathing suits, and they're doing like jumping jacks, trying to get ready. And they get to like this dock, and they jump off into the water one after another. And I remember him saying that the water is so cold that you need to focus on your breath, or else you could like pass out. Something crazy, like that extent of breaking that barrier of comfort to the extreme. So each person do it one after another, and they were encouraging each other, like, yeah, let's go. And once they were all done, they all swam back to the shore, and they were just like kind of just jumping up and down, shaking, and they were all just like smiling and just like excited. And then they went inside and like drinking coffee, had blankets around, and they were talking about their experience. And for a lot of them, it was like a wake up call. It was one of the biggest shifts in their life. And something so simple as jumping in cold water and coming out like that and having this realization, or some crazy form of enlightenment from that, was so fascinating to me. I'm like, geez. And I think it goes back to, working out. And you can go to the gym and just like do a bunch of random stuff, but you don't build muscle until you like break the fibers by pushing it past the limit that you think you can do. Again, we only like push ourselves, what is it, like 40%? We go 40%, and then we actually don't actually, so we mentally stop. Like, if I'm doing push-ups and I'm tired at 10, I'll stop at like 12 when I can really do like 25. So we only like push ourselves to 40%, but we really have access to all that more energy. And when you're taking a shower, you're in cold water, I would turn it to really cold, and I would try to do it for 30 seconds. That's why I start off 30 seconds, or I started 15 seconds and 30 seconds. And I was like, hold myself. I would like hold my nuts. I would like squeeze myself. and I would like start saying affirmations like, I love myself, I'm beautiful, I'm healthy, I'm not cold, like all that stuff, right? And then I turn it back to hot, and it was just like, whoosh, I'm alive. Like, I didn't die. Are you kidding me? And I just felt so awake in that moment. And then next time I did 30 seconds, and it was just as more powerful. And then a minute. And now I've done it so many times where it's not even cold enough anymore. But once you realize you're in the morning, it's like, depending what time you wake up, it's super early in the morning. You really haven't done what you really plan to do for the rest of the day. And you've done something that you thought you couldn't do. You're like, what the hell? I can do anything now, you know? So it's just such an empowering thing. So simple. Just start off slow, but cold showers, good for the body, good for the pores, wakes you up and motivates you. So I love cold showers. Cold showers are super rad.
Yeah, I have a friend of a friend that I met recently at a biohacking event in New York City, and he has like a nootropic company, and we were talking about cold showers, and I was like, it was like right before you had brought it up to me, and I was like, this is weird. So anyway, he was saying that something that's really good to get yourself like into that, routine is if you just put it on really cold, put your arm in it, like rub your arm,
Yeah.
because it like warms it up, but it's still cold on it, and then like maybe just put your shoulder in and like rub it, and then like your back first, and like then you just get
That's like
used to doing
it's like
that,
walking
and
in
it
the
like
ocean, for
helps.
example. Like you put your toes in first, and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
and then you go in, you got your knees in, you're like, okay, and then you go in, and then you and it just like slowly gets into it. Super powerful.
Yeah, for sure. And I know like
Yeah.
my like Tess, Tess, like she's like a friend of mine, and she works in California now at some type of company that
Oh, no
does all
way.
this biohacking stuff, and she always talks about like cold showers and how it helps with like jet lag, and then also just like if you wake up in the morning and you're like exhausted, that
Boom.
cold shower is just gonna like boost your circulation up, and your blood's gonna start flowing better. Like it's just good for all things. So I love that. I love that so much. And morning routines are
And I think
essential.
And then I think the biggest thing that I've started implementing is writing down my to-do list and my affirmations and everything in a journal. Because when you have a to-do list or you plan out the rest of the day, like I feel like some people really like to go with the flow, and like that's them, and like that's beautiful, and like I really kind of suck at that. But like for me, I kind of like a little structure, and I like having things that I want to do for the rest of the day, and then I like completing it. So you have a to-do list, and then you're doing the activity, and I'm almost like so excited to do the activity so I can physically check it off my list. Like
I am Alex, Andrew, we are both Virgos, and this is such a Virgo thing to do. Like so organized, and like it's also about like holding that intention, and like you're going to complete it. And then once you complete it, it's like, okay, mentally I can dump
and then
that
on
out
to the
of my
next
head
thing.
now.
And then oh my god, it is just so powerful, because I remember, again, like throughout, I like reflect a lot on like who I was and who I am now, and I remember having these thoughts. Like I remember hearing about affirmations and vision boards and writing stuff down and having them on the wall or whatever, and I was like, that's cool. And I just maybe like scribbled on my paper like one time, and I was just like didn't do anything with it. And nothing changed. And then honestly, going to your place for the first time for Christmas, like was it 2 years ago? Last year? I don't remember. It might have been, but you had sticky notes freaking everywhere. It was unreal. It was so cool, and I was like, damn, just making it all happen. And then I saw that your vision board. You're like, I completed like 80% of this. I'm like, shut. Oh my god, like what? So
I know, dude. I know, it's powerful, but I think something I just want to say, because I hear this sometimes, is like some people like aren't really creative, and when they hear like, oh, you need to make a vision board, they get kind of like stumped, like, oh, I don't really know how to do that, or like I don't even really know what I want, or like, I'm more of a list person, yada yada yada. Whatever like works for you for your manifesting, like make a list in your phone, or like maybe, and even just talking in like future tense or like present tense, like I'm so happy that I earned $1 million this year. That's a little excessive, but like maybe a little bit more tangible at this moment is like, I'm so grateful that I graduated from college with a 4.0 or something, like stuff like that, like talking as it already happened and things like that. So, I mean, for me, like I'm so creative. I like visuals. I've always been like a visual person. So like I really like a vision board. But a lot of people are like that, more like analytical thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like a list.
I was talking to one of my buddies about. I was like, dude, because we grew up playing basketball and like all sports, and we party, we did all these things, we stereotypical jock dudes, and I was like, dude, like now that I've started like tap into like more creativity and art and painting and like all this stuff, I was like, dude, have you ever like thought about like doing something creative, like doing something artistic or anything like that? And he was like, don't take this the wrong way, but like you have that, I don't. And I feel like that, like I was thinking about that, it was dwelling on me for so long, and I feel like to a degree, some people naturally have a gift, have talent. Like some people can see it in their mind and then draw it, and it's like unreal. But I feel like the act of just creating an artistic, I feel like we all have the ability to do it, and it. I don't know if you have anything to like touch up about like creative expression or anything, but I think it's so powerful. And I know like to a degree, some people might naturally be more into it and more in touch with it, and just have the ability to do it to a higher level just like anything, like if you're naturally better at like basketball or athletics, or you have a gift in like mathematics or anything like that, or trombone. But when it comes to creative expression, like what are your thoughts on that? Like for anyone who's someone who might not think that they have the ability to do it.
Absolutely. So, I think a big thing that we do from a very young age, and I know I've done this for more analytical things, is we'll say to ourselves, I'm really not good at art. I see all these people in my art class doing such great work with the projects we have, and I'm not looking as good as them. So I'm not good at art. I must not be good at art. And then you kind of condition yourself and you say this
Mhm.
for pretty much the rest of your life. You're like, I'm not an artist. I'm not an artist. I'm not good at this. So then you're gonna not
Yeah.
be good at doing art, You're not gonna try. You're not gonna try your hardest where really everybody can be an
Art is
artist.
art
Everyone
is.
is an
I took
artist
a
in their
class with
own
this. Like
way.
art is everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Art is so subjective too, and that's like going on kind of a tangent. Like I went to college for a minor in art. So, it's frustrating as an artist when you're
Mm.
getting critiqued, and like critique is good, but like with grades for art is like, okay, yeah, maybe you don't like
Oh
this, but
my
I
gosh.
fucking love this. Like I love this project, like and just because you don't like it, someone else might like it. Like some of the art that's out there is like I'm like, why is this a
Right?
million
Yeah.
dollars? This is not good. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like people are out there that pay $1 million for, big canvas artwork. Or like these big sculptures that people make where you're kind of
Mhm.
like, why
A
is that
lot.
worth that
Yeah.
much money? Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's so subjective. So like going back to like people not being creative, like all of us can be artistic. Maybe your art is coding, or your art is drawing, or your art is fashion design, or being a stylist, or being a basketball coach, or like any of those things. That is your art. So I think we're all creative and artistic. Maybe just you've kind
Mhm.
of dimmed that light inside of you and that ability because you've been telling yourself years and years, I'm not good at this one thing. Like I would do that for math class. I'd be like,
Or I
I
can't.
suck at
I
math.
hate it. I
I
catch
don't
myself
get
doing that
it.
too a lot.
I
And
can't.
you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I just not now. Like I will, or
yeah,
something like that. But like turning it into a positivity versus a
yeah.
negative.
Right, right. Or more be like, I am good at math. I can
Yeah.
do this. I just choose not to, or something like that. Like for me, like now, like it's crazy because like now that I'm in like the real world, it's like I'm actually pretty good at like counting and doing
Yeah. No way.
multiplication in my head and like adding in my head, and like it makes so much more sense now. And I like do my
Yeah.
taxes and
But like, how
do my
is
accounting and bookkeeping and
yeah?
stuff. And I'm
But
like,
in
this is really
school,
not
like
that
math
bad.
kind of sucked, right?
Like growing up, well, because they teach you the one standard cookie cutter way to do everything, and that doesn't work for everyone. And also, I found, I don't know what this is about, but at least in our education system growing up, I feel like they taught us the maybe the possibly hardest way to do something. And then when I got to college, I'm like, why did I not know that
Yeah.
my whole life? That was so much easier to do. So, like all education
Yeah.
system, all teaching methods are different. So everyone's going to learn differently. And that's something
It's so
to
true. And
be
I
aware
feel like
of.
with art, the
So,
beautiful thing about art is there's so much passion behind it. And I think passion is such a beautiful and important thing that gets tangled in life because we have to do, we have bills we have to pay, we have all these things that we have to do and places we have to be. But have we ever sat down and figured like, am I passionate about the work that I'm actually doing? And when it comes to art, I feel like if you're editing a video or dancing or doing something artistic like painting or anything, you can get lost in time. Like I could edit a video for 2 3 hours like it's nothing and just have so much fun with it, whereas I'm doing math homework and I'm dreading every single second. It's the longest thing ever and I've done like 5 problems. It's there's so much passion behind it, and it's the kind of passion where you don't even need to get paid. It's the thing, like I don't like you don't even have to pay me for this, like I'll do it. And like art and expression like that, I feel like is really really amazing in that. I was think I was thinking back also when
yeah,
you're
for
talking
sure.
about critiquing and how, you don't need other people's validation to do it. It pisses me off so much hearing movie critics and just how cynical they are. Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh.
god,
I'm
me
like, if I ever make it
too.
big
Me
as an
too.
actor in this another lifetime or dimension, if someone asks me or yeah, or critiques
No,
me
this
on
lifetime.
on like whatever art we created or movie we did or anything. Oh my god, what was I gonna say? I was just like, what is the reason? Like, what is like why did the entertainment industry exist in the first place? And it's to entertain. And there,
I think that's in any
yeah,
industry in
and
general.
I
Yeah,
feel like
but keep going. Yeah,
they want to make something bad about it. They want to ruin it. They want to say it doesn't meet the standard. They want to say the acting is bad, or like this, or like there's this like Outer Banks, that show. Like the kid's 27 years old in real life, and he's playing a 16-year-old kid, and you can totally say this is stupid because of that. Or like like you're watching a movie and this is something super unreal. It's like an amazing action movie. This thing's rocking my world. I'm on like cloud 22 and like shit's going crazy and I love it, but like this would never happen in real life. And then you have people who are like, this would never happen in real life and it ruins the experience for all of us. But I feel like entertainment, if someone like asked me like something, like critiques me on something like that, I'm like, why do we make movies in the first place? And it's so we could bring a bunch of people,
right.
friends, family together for 2 hours, forget about whatever shit's going on in life, and enjoy ourselves and the experience itself. And I feel like we're losing sight of that in a lot of artistic things when you're being critiqued, and honestly things in life whenever you're being critiqued, like playing basketball, you're critiquing, you're getting critiqued over everything, or so many things in life, and I hate that. But once you find that, it's the same thing as like competing, finding the
Absolutely.
joy versus finding the validation or anything like that.
Absolutely. Going back to that, while we watch movies to like get out of our own shit, like that movies were actually created in the 20s during the Great
Oh, I
Depression
don't
to
doubt
get
it. Yeah,
people out of their own
it's like
shit.
theaters, like, yeah.
On. Yeah,
Oh my
and like
gosh.
yeah, like an hour, 2 hours, you just are
Yeah,
fantasizing about this other thing, like, and not
I saw
thinking
the
about
movie.
it's just
Have you seen the movie Shakespeare in
yeah,
Love?
it's fun.
Rocked my freaking world. I'm
No.
taking a theater class and we're doing Shakespeare, so I'm like kind of getting into it. And I watched it and I was like, oh my god, Shakespeare's a freaking genius. And then it was back in the time where it was theater and you didn't have phones, you didn't have technology, you didn't have anything. It was word of mouth. This guy he would experience something and then get an idea, sprint to his house, write it down for like, and like be in that moment forever, and just like it's the most beautiful concept ever, and it would just bring and like the final performance brought so many people together, and it was so I loved it. I love it. I love the theater.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was gonna say too with like the critiquing and stuff where that can go for so many industries, like from your experience
Oh,
with that. But for me, it's like, you know,
oh my
that
gosh.
goes for music. Like, why do people get so worked up about someone else's
Yeah,
music? Like, then don't listen
yeah,
to the music. I don't know. And like for me, it's like I'm constantly on like these sets for these like, companies shooting content of their clothes and stuff. And I've literally heard creative directors like looking at other people's photo shoots and being like, oh, they already did this before. Like, this is oversaturated. This doesn't look good, yada, yada, yada. And it's just like, who cares? Like, just do what you want to do and
oh
like
my gosh,
let
yeah.
them do what they're doing. You know what
Isn't
I
it
mean? It's
crazy?
just like,
I've thought about this before, how
yeah,
powerful music is on so many different levels. Like it creates identities for other individuals. Like this artist is doing it, making music for themselves. Like Billie Eilish and her brother Phineas were like in the room creating music because they love doing it. And then like rap music, there's different genres and stuff. And then when you associate yourself with that, you put yourselves in their shoes, and all you're doing is listening to that. Then you have this identity on you. Like if you like rap music and like I'm not a huge rap fan, but I appreciate the artistic value to it, and how like honestly there's a lot of beauty in like the words and the rhyme schemes and everything that goes on in it. And a lot of people are shamed because they're associated with that kind of music. And that really literally creates identities for individuals based off of what you like, which is insane.
right, absolutely. And like music is so powerful for like people with like healing and like like I've had music and I know so many other people, they are like,
Mm,
this music got me through like
yeah.
this period of my life or whatever. So, it's like, how are you going to discount that art because it's helping other people? You know what I mean? So it's just like, I just find it's so interesting when I hear like, whether it's the musicians, celebrities, whatever, like shaming these people, trashing
Yeah.
them, whatever.
And I
It's
was
just
actually
like, there's
listening
too
to a
much
Joe
hate on
Rogan podcast today. I forget who the individual was that he was talking to, but the guy he was talking to was involved with MMA, but he was also in the music industry, and he was talking about the music industry and how these artists, they come in with the idea that you're a needle in a haystack and that you're so talented and all these things, and they just want to, but in reality they just want to milk money out of you, and you go into it thinking it's going to be like this beautiful thing, but in reality the money goes towards so many different things. Like, these guys aren't even getting compensated really what they should for. It's like athletes, not like college athletes, not getting paid. Like, they're bringing in so much money, but they're not getting compensated or like that about that. Yeah,
And they
exactly. And
actually
the
can't have a
industry,
job that makes some money
it's
from something
brutal, man. I
too.
feel like
Yeah.
a lot of, like, when it comes to entertainment or like news networks, it's I don't want to say fake now, but it's the reason why they do what they do is becoming unethical almost.
Right. Like, it's clouded of like,
Yeah,
why did we even
exactly.
start this in the
Because
first
it's when it
place?
comes
Kind
back
of.
to money,
I
comes back
totally
to power.
understand
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
And it sucks because it's just like the capitalistic
Mhm.
society that we live in. We can't really escape that, unless something drastically changes, like
Wait,
a
oh my
pandemic
gosh.
where no one can make
Have you
money in
seen
so
did
many
you watch
different
the video that
fields.
I posted on Facebook? Oh my, so it was the most recent one. It was about
I
this
which
guy.
one?
He's like, I don't know, he's British, but you remember how I did my like the bipolar poem thing? How I kind of like spoke like that? He kind of does that. It's like a poem, and it is so powerful talking about society before and after the pandemic, and it is like, spot on. I
I'll have to watch it.
yes,
I'll
so
link it
powerful.
in this podcast so people
And
can
so
watch it
creative
too.
too, I feel like that's
That's
gonna
so
bring out, because
awesome.
I forget, I think it was in our Zoom theater class, people were talking about it was times like this where like Shakespeare rose, or times where like things are down like this where the best artists emerge, because it's so much time to put away the shit and get into tune with our creative side. And my theater professor was talking about it's amazing how in
Mhm.
times like this people are relying on the artistics, like on like the theater, on the entertainment, and like all this stuff, and that industry is being just exploding because of creative expression and how powerful it is.
Totally. And I think, like I always like to preface is like, if you are in this moment feeling like you are so overwhelmed and you just want to
That's
chill out and
wonderful.
watch TV and
Yeah,
like numb everything out, like that's for you. But if you have an idea that you've been sitting on, you
go
really,
for
really
it.
want to go with it,
Oh,
like now is the time. And yeah, and I feel like for myself, like I constantly have all these ideas and like I've been wanting to execute them, but I'm always so busy. I haven't had time. And like another huge thing for me why I'm not executing those and why I hadn't been
mm,
is because I was in a fear based mindset of like, people aren't going to resonate with it, or like people are going to judge me for what I'm saying, or like, this person's going to see it and they don't really like resonate with what I say. So they're going to like judge me, yada, yada. For some reason, during all of this, I feel like
that's
we're all in
it.
this
Yeah,
together. Like, fuck it. I'm just going to go for it. Like, I don't know, like something about what's going on. I'm just like, who cares? Like, now's the time to do it. And I'm just going for it. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of people are feeling. So, like, all these creative people
I think
are
that is
like,
so
why
huge,
the
and I
fuck
think
not?
for
Let's just
me,
go.
it was a big hump in, because I remember growing up saying, I don't care what people think. I don't care what people think. And in reality, I cared so much about what people think. And I think now I'm starting to like I love this is so funny. I love necklaces. I was really getting into necklaces and like that surfer vibe kind of thing. And I wouldn't wear it during the school year, and I would only wear it during the summer, and I would call it my summer. That's because I was afraid other people like
No
like
way.
one
I
time,
didn't know that.
I think it was sophomore year, I went into like an open gym for basketball, and I wore like a tank top and I wore my necklace, and I was like, "Yo, you a surfer, bro?" Like ridiculed for it, and like that kind of like hurt me. And now I'm starting to come into my own, and I'm starting. You realize how empowering it is to just wear that necklace, to dress crazy and have people stare at you, and to just own it. Like, that is so powerful. And in this time, I'm like starting to like I've been posting a lot of Instagram stories, and sometimes they're like super long. I'm like, honestly, like, do I even want to share this? And like, who's like gonna care? Like, people are gonna make fun. There's like all this fear, 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 and then all it takes is one person to reach out and be like, wow, dude, that was awesome. All it takes is one person. If one person can feel something from that, then that is all I need. That is literally all I need. And then at some point, then maybe two people reach out, then three people reach out, and then you start rolling, and then it's just this beautiful thing. But fear is so holds people back. I can't imagine how like what the world would look like if like fear. I mean, fear needs to exist, but what if fear didn't exist? Like, imagine how many people like there are probably people so much more talented than people who are big right now, but were afraid to go after it or chase their dreams or stuff like that because fear held them back. And it's just it makes me think. It makes me think. But yeah, all you need is have like one person, and
I know. I love what you've been doing, and I think like it's thought provoking. It's like we were saying earlier, where like when you get
people
clear with
don't.
what you care about and sharing what you care about, those
Yeah,
people that you want, they're gonna be attracted to that, and that's how you find your people for
because I
sure.
feel like there are people who
Absolutely.
are afraid
Um,
to be that. Maybe they have kind of tapped into that a little bit, or maybe that's their true selves, but they were where I was, like high school or middle school, and they're afraid to reach out, and then they see one person be like, "Oh my god, I didn't know you were like this. I didn't know this was normal or this is okay to think or act like this." And then you're like, "Damn, I'm gonna do it now." And
yeah.
that is such a beautiful thing, and that's how
Yeah.
we're gonna wake everyone up. That's so
Oh, for sure. It's just like when we did that live Instagram and I was talking about like the tapping and
yeah,
your friend
right.
was
I
like,
love
"Oh my
that.
god, I had no idea like other people did that." And it's like to me, I'm like because I surround myself with people
Yeah,
like-minded like that. I'm like, "Oh, doesn't everybody know about this?" But like no, they like
seriously,
1% of the population probably knows about it. You know what I mean? So it's like you got to just if you are strong in your message, just get out there and share it because I'm
100%.
promising you
And you never
someone
know
doesn't
who's
know
just gonna
about what you're
stumble
talking
over
about.
it, who might need to hear it in that moment, who might be having a poor. Like there was one time I had a friend. I work at Starbucks, and I was on the register, and I had this friend who worked. I met her through Starbucks, and then I think she was taking the semester off, or we had different hours or something, and I hadn't seen her in a long time. And I was at the register. I like got her drink, and we were talking for a while. And then I wrote her name down, and I just put like a sun smiley face on it. And I didn't honestly think anything of it. I was like, this is just fun. Like we're really good friends, and it's great. She messages me on Instagram later saying that she almost cried because like that made her day. Like she was having a really bad day before. I had no idea. And I feel like that happens a lot. And your small act of kindness, like that was like the smallest thing that took zero energy on my part, really made such a big like impact on someone's life. And we all have the ability to do that, which is incredible. And
Absolutely. That's like
like,
in the Surrender Experiment book I was reading. I finished it like a week ago,
oh yeah,
and it was saying, yeah, I'm reading books. I've read like 6 books during this. I'm so proud of myself. But anyways, they were saying like, that small act of kindness will then make the person you're giving that kindness to that much more likely to spread that kindness to the next person. And it's like a ripple effect like that. Even like a
so,
smile or
oh
like a
my
little
gosh,
compliment of
so
like, oh, you
simple,
look
but it's
nice
so
today, or like
uncomfortable to
something like
do.
that.
And it's like, oh my god, it works wonders. And I was so afraid to do that like so many times throughout my life, or say hi to that one person, or like hold the door for that one person, or so many things. And then because the thing is, like especially working at Starbucks, I feel like I'm like in control. I can talk to people. I can just like hand them their cup, say like goodbye or whatever. But if I say like gets another name, like have a nice day, or if I like say hi to someone or smile, then the next time I see them, maybe they smile back at me. And then the next time I see them, we both smile back at each other, and then you're friends. That's literally how it works.
Right. And then
And
you're
in
friends.
high school, I like did not make new
Yeah,
friends. It was insane because
absolutely.
I was so confined in this bubble, and I only had that one set of friends. And then in college, you just like randomly are just nice to people, and then you become friends. It's literally it's so simple. I remember talking about that in one of our classes, and one guy was like, "How do you make new friends? You go out, you maybe join a club that interests you, and you find people who are interested. You say hi. Like it really isn't rocket science, which is so beautiful."
Mhm. Right. And like we are saying, like it's all energy. Like you will be attracted to the people that are meant to be in your life. Like if you're in a big group of people, you're going to gravitate towards the
Definitely.
people that are meant to be, in front of you or whatever. Um, oh, I was going to say something I forget it was about like putting yourself out there and saying hi, like, because I was the same way growing up, like in high school. Like I would be pretty
It was
awkward
weird.
about being like,
Like
hey,
people
like,
didn't do it. It was
I'm
super
interested in what you
painful.
like. Let's be friends.
It's horrible.
Right, right. It was weird. And so like when I moved to New York because I didn't really know anybody, I was like, well shit, I really got to get out of my comfort zone and like, I follow like all these people on Instagram. I think I hate that it's like you follow these people on Instagram but like you don't know each other in person and then
Yes.
you see each other in
What
person
is
and
that
you don't
about?
say hi to each other. It's like, what the fuck? Like, why are we even following each other? So I made like a pact with myself when I moved to New York that I wasn't gonna do that. And if I followed them on Instagram and like resonated with them, if I saw them in person, I was gonna go up to them and be like, hey, like, nice to see you, whatever, and like start a conversation. And I did that so much. And that's literally how I'm friends with everybody I'm friends with. And like, if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. But you just have to put yourself
Yeah, I
out
can't tell you how
there
many
and
times I'm like,
go for it. You
so
know
I
what
did
I
this thing.
mean?
I remember in high school a lot. I'm thinking about what I'm thinking. Like the professor asked a question, and it's like a popcorn thing. Like people raise their hands, like have a different perspective on it, and I have a perspective that I think would have value, but I don't say anything. And it's just like I'm like want to say hi to someone, I know them, and I just don't do it.
Mhm.
And I always regret. I always have a horrible feeling afterwards of regret. Like just do it, dude. Just freaking do it. Just say what you want to say. And then every time I say what I want to say, honestly, nothing bad happens. Like, nothing bad has ever happened from that. Oh my
Right. You feel so much better.
so yeah.
Yeah. And that all is like fear based, going back to that. As I actually great example of that. I went on my like first yoga retreat in California last year. And it was like at the kind of start of my whole like really going deep, whatever. And I am definitely one like that where I'm like, I do want to like raise my hand and like go up and speak and be like, this is how I feel about this or whatever. And, I had just done a full weekend of like this huge Kundalini yoga retreat. So I was like super awake and I
Yeah.
was like not really full of fear because we did like so much breath work. So I'm like sitting there and the two women running it are like, does anyone want to come up and just share their experience and like say how they like, enjoyed this, whatever. And I was like, fuck, I really want to. I'm like so nervous. Or like a lot of people here. It was like a 50-person retreat and they like these special guests that they had brought for us were there as well. So I was like, oh god, there's just like so many people, and I like really look up to these women. So I was just sitting there and I was doing
Yo,
like a
I
bunch of
did
breath
that
of
this
fire
morning.
because
I
I was like,
literally
get the
kid
spirit
you
out
not,
of my
the ego
stomach. Like,
eradicator breath of fire. I'm like making a YouTube video. I'm about to post it after this podcast. I swear. So awesome. So
I absolutely love breath of fire. So, anyways, I'm like sitting there and I'm like, like I'm like, okay, calm down, like you can do it. And I raised my hand, and then, or no, what happened was I was kind of like in the back corner, so everything kept happening to make me like, you know, stay in that fear and not go up because I had
oh
started to
yeah,
walk
I
up,
know
and
that feeling.
another girl
Oh
walked up to talk. So, oh shit, okay, yeah, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go around the pillar and I'm just gonna
like
like squat there until she's done. And then like she was done and I just like
yeah.
ran up. Like I didn't even give myself a second to like think about it. And then like
Okay.
and for this retreat, I was like one of the youngest people there. Like there was one other girl that or two other girls that were my age. So we were like the youngest ones. So, of course, me talking is even more scary because I'm like so much younger. But I think it was cool
They
and it
want
was
that
like
perspective. Yeah.
uplifting for people who are a little bit older too to say my perspective. And I went on this whole thing and was like so thankful and grateful. And like, of course, I was like super uncomfortable, but it was like, it felt so good to just say all of it. And then they were all just like, thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing. Like, people were like
Yes.
yelling across the room, like, we love you. So nice to meet you. Like, it was like so great. And then
Mhm.
after I got like one of those like aura pictures taken, and
What?
my aura was literally like such an uncommon color
That
that they
is
don't
so
even
amazing.
have it like on the chart because it like almost never comes up. And I was just like, whoa, like this is just so cool. Like it was so awesome.
Honestly.
So, just go for it. You're gonna feel better. Like if
Exactly.
I didn't do
Exactly.
that, I would have been sitting
And
there
there's
being like,
always usually someone
fuck Jenny.
who
Like
kind of wanted
should
to
have
say
just
what you
gone
just
and done
said,
it.
and then they're like, "Wow, what? That's you felt that too?" Exactly.
And then like you going
It's
up might
so
make someone
powerful.
else want to go up
And
too.
it's funny
So
because
like
growing up, like I was like more like the reserve guy, and then I would see people who are so outgoing, and I was like resentful of that. Like I was like so annoying, like you won't stop talking and all that stuff. But like they're like they meet new people, like they're doing things like I'm so envious of that, you know. And I make the comparisons like Buddy the Elf,
jealous, yeah.
like over the top, pretty honestly annoying, like but he is just talks to everyone, smiles, hugs people, like just literally living to the fullest. And he opens up so many doors and so many opportunities, and his life is honestly so beautiful, and it's crazy. It really is powerful using your voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a really good point of what you're saying is that reflecting on you admitting to yourself
Mhm.
that you're envious of that added like that type of personality rather than being like, oh, I just don't like that person because they're annoying. But really, if you go
Yeah,
deep down, you realize, no, actually, I really wish I was that person.
exactly.
That's why I'm so, irritated by how they're being.
Mm,
So, because everyone is mirroring something within you. If someone is striking a chord in you, you need to slow down and look, what are you like
mhm.
hitting a point in me?
I'm going to take a quick break from the episode to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Anchor, for helping make this podcast a reality. We are so grateful for platforms out there like Anchor that make it so easy to start a podcast. If you've been wanting to start a podcast and have been holding yourself back because you think it's going to be hard, definitely download the app, and I promise you it is so easy to do, and they help you every step of the way.
So really
Hit me.
quickly, I just wanted to ask you, what are you
Oh my
manifesting
goodness.
for
All
yourself
right.
right now?
So right now, I definitely want to manifest because it's it's hard for me right now trying life in a way where because I always like growing up, I wanted to be like famous. I want to be like, have like people look at me and like know who I am everywhere I go. And I went to like Flowers by Priscilla and I picked up flowers. She's like, you're gonna be a celebrity someday. I'm like, thanks. No. but um, but yeah. And then I look at
Thanks,
like
we
young
all know.
celebrities growing up, and there's so much internal conflict going on. I'm like, do I even want that? So I'm in this stage like, do I want to like again like I'm not saying like I'm gonna be a celebrity, but like celebrity or go the route of joy and love and like van life and like be a freaking hippie and shave my head kind of thing, Or so trying to figure out what I want, but I feel like for me, I really want to have a voice and have it um, reach a large group of people. So it's unfortunate because I kind of need a big following to do that, whether it's like followers or like getting big on like YouTube and stuff like that. So it's tough because I don't want like the external validation of getting like followers or likes or anything like that. But part of me wants to reach out to a larger group. So I definitely want to start manifesting more content that would create a broader audience, especially on my YouTube channel, because I'm starting to. I was kind of like doing goofy videos and stuff, but now I'm gonna post something on like breath work. I want to do something maybe cooking, exercise, like things that people would actually look up and like want to learn and know instead of just really being entertained. And then just manifesting money in my life because unfortunately, like again, money doesn't control. I mean, there's a weird exchange with energy with money for me right now. Like growing up, I had a really negative connection, and it's still really tough for me because I'm going to come out with a lot of loans and everything. And then, me graduating right now, trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life. I really want to like manifest and be able to support myself later on. So I want to manifest money with my business and kind of have that grow so I'm comfortable and confident to continue to grow and meet and talk to people about that. And I remember talking to my friend and she was saying like, what do you want to do, where do you want to go? And I like thought about that and it was really hard for me to answer. And then going back to like being specific, like she's like, where do you want to travel to? I'm like, I don't want to know. I've been saying for years that I want to travel, like travel the world, but I haven't actually specifically put down a spot or like a beach or a break or or anything like that. So it's never. I don't think it's ever gonna manifest because I haven't honed in my focus on that specific area. So I really want to manifest that, and I want to focus on where I want to go and start doing more research into it because I've honestly been pretty lazy with my travels and stuff, and I really want to manifest my people. I've been really that's been like a big thing for me. I remember I would always like look up at the stars and say like, what is like like I feel like I'm here for more and I want to find my people. I remember physically saying I want to find my people, and I'm slowly starting to get into that. I'm starting to find people who are into veganism, who are into law of attraction, who are into bettering themselves and wanting to better others. And it's just like a positive light beam of energy, like mom, and I just want to manifest the people because
Yes,
I try to
yes.
come up with the idea of happiness and like how do you find happiness and all that stuff. And I think it comes down to like relationships because I feel like I'm so in tune with myself. Like I love being alone, which I know some people are really scared of. And then when they are alone, like you can get into like a deep dark place with your mind. But I feel like I've done a lot of work with my mind where I love being alone. But then almost every time I'm with someone who I care about, or we're on like we're vibing energetically and doing something in like the moment, it's so much better when you're surrounded with those people than when you're alone. So I realized I want to find like my tribe, my group of people, and surround myself with that. So I really want to manifest that, and I think that will me to be a better person instead of, because I feel like part of me is like I want to like teach and learn and like inspire others, but that's a lot of an energetic exchange of me like giving, where I need to be open to receiving and surround myself with people who lift me up, who inspire me. And I really want to surround myself with that, because they say you're like basically like the person you surround your like the best five friends, or what is it saying? Culmination of
Yeah, like
you.
you're
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
exactly.
person
So
of the best 5 people, and you
definitely
are around.
manifesting the business, making money to financially support myself, and then hopefully take off where I can then give back. And I really want to work with nonprofits and everything. And so the tribe, the people, the travel, and it's crazy because growing up, I was always like, oh, I'm gonna figure it out later. I'm gonna figure it out next year. I'm gonna figure it out in 2 years. I'm gonna figure it out when I'm in college. And now I'm at the point where I'm here, I'm right, and like it's the next chapter of my life, and I need to start, going. So it's exciting, and I am just really, I'm really glad that I've been connected with the people that I'm with, like you, and a lot of people like all over the world who are into that and opening me up to manifesting what I want in my life, because I've never done this before. In like this year, I guess the past like year and a half, I guess after let's say Costa Rica, yeah, I've really started to implement these things and see
Costa
results
Rica.
from it, which has been so powerful. And just continuing that, and never not having joy in anything I do, because I would never like a desk job or do things that just like if I why would I put my time and energy in something that I'm like dreading, and that's like and then I'm dreading it, and I'm taking myself out of the present moment, and it's just it's unhealthy in a way. So, and I always feel like
Yeah,
I
like
I can
living in that low
I can be
vibration. Yeah.
like the responsible dude, but I feel like I'm at my best when I'm like that goofy guy who like we're gonna go somewhere like and we're gonna have a good time. And like I think that's how I want to live my life, is just have a good time in anything you do, because when you're cooking, like you can dance, have a party, like have so much fun. You're like doing homework, or like literally, I feel like anything you do in life, you can have fun doing if you have like surround yourself with the right people and have the right mindset into it. And I think I want to take a lot of joy in everything that we do.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing. I think the biggest
Yes.
thing with abundance and law of attraction
Speak it
is
into
when you
existence.
say it out loud. So thank you for sharing that. So I'm going to ask you one more thing, is
Oh
to
my gosh.
give us a thought experiment of the day.
I was all right. So backstory for anyone who hasn't like followed me on Instagram, I've been doing thought experiments from Monday to today, which is Sunday, and today was my last day of doing it, and I was gonna give it up, but do you want me to do one that I've done before, or try to think of it on the spot? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Whatever works for you.
I was gonna be like philosophical.
You can
like,
do the same one
there's
because
like
it's a different audience.
and you have a lever, and do you pull the lever and kill, or you not pull the lever, kill 5 people, or pull the lever and kill one person, or that wasn't it. That wasn't it. I learned that in philosophy though in high school.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, what did I even
Do the
talk
fear
about?
one.
With
That goes
fear?
well with our topic.
Oh, what is your deepest fear? What is your deepest fear? It's funny, like when I
What is
posted
your
that, my
biggest
buddy
fear?
was like, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are, which is what I thought about when I asked that question, because that's from Coach Carter, which is like an amazing line, which is so funny. But yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
just honing in on the
Yeah,
idea
it's
of
a good
what
thought experiment. I
your
like it a
deepest
lot.
fear is. And as I've been reading the book of being present in the now, when you fear something, you are like, you cannot fear something that is present. Fear is strictly a fear of something that's going to happen in the future. So like if you're when we went to the Bahamas and we were swimming with the sharks, you can like fear, you're in the water and your fear is out of your mind. You're like shaking and you just don't want to do it, but you're not afraid in that moment. Like you're not afraid. You're afraid of getting attacked by the sharks, which hasn't actually happened yet. If you're afraid of skydiving, you're afraid of taking that drop. You're afraid all the way up to the moment you actually drop, and then it's just complete bliss, like that moment. So fear cannot exist in the present moment. That's kind of what I want to end on. And just be. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to thought experiments is please be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like this is. I feel it's funny because growing up and doing sports, we would do like exercises, like push-ups and all this stuff, and they would be like, push yourself, and I would just like give up on myself. And it wasn't until I realized that I'm the only person I'm giving up on is myself. Like me stopping isn't gonna hurt like my coach or like anything like that. Like it's myself, and that's how personal development is too. If you're not honest with yourself, then those demons are never gonna leave your body. So acknowledging it first and then overcoming is the way beyond. Write it down,
I
or
love
like
that.
your
And
deepest fear.
you don't
Write
have to
it
share
down
with
and then
anyone, so
burn
just
that
write
shit.
it down.
Let it in
Yeah.
here. I've never actually done that before. I kind of want to do that.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so I know you gotta go, but
So
we're gonna do 2 more things, have some fun with it, and then we're gonna go, okay?
yes.
So, first of all, I'm gonna pull you a card because we've got to do it last time, and I want to do that. So, I have the Yogic Path deck here from Sahara Rose. I believe it's pretty gender neutral. The artwork is a little bit
Okay.
feminine, but they're all like they have pictures of men and women too. So I really like it. So I cleared the energy before I came down here today. So I'm just gonna re-silence, and we could just take some breaths together so that we just come in tune with each other. All right, so for all of you who are not watching and you're just listening, I just take the deck and I just run my fingers through them and I just set the intention. And the breath was just kind of like connecting Andrew and I, and then I just intuitively pull it. And that's what it comes down to. So this is really weird.
Okay.
This is so weird, Andrew. So I have this book, okay? And I pull one every day of the week. And then on Monday, I take them all out and then, like, shuffle the deck or whatever. So I had this morning, I pulled a card, and basically it was about Ayurveda and how I need to start putting better things in my body and not like be putting toxins into my body, which is really resonating with me because I've been like drinking a lot of coffee, drinking wine, like eating meat when I don't usually eat meat. So it was interesting. So anyways, I was like putting it into this book, and then this card that I had pulled last week flew out of it, like fell out.
No way.
And so
I love
this is the one I pulled for you.
Love it.
The one that fell out. So that's so weird. So it was upside down. And I think for something that I've heard from like a shaman, like Shaman Durek, he says with card pulling, it's not, you don't have to read this book, it's about like your intuition about what you think it means.
Ooh.
But I like reading the book. So this is the card. It was upside down, and I'm going to butcher this name because it's in Sanskrit, but it's Svadhisthana, I think is how you say it. So it's a chakra card, 51. 51 reverse. Creativity is like a fountain, and when it's not replenished, it runs dry. Has life gotten in the way of things you used to do that really lit you up? It's time to come back to them. Go back to those poems, take out your old canvas, begin singing again, open up the cobwebs of your body, and let Shakti move through you. When you live a life you love, abundance flows your way, and pleasure follows suit. Make your life an expression of the divine and ride the orgasmic waves of creativity.
I was talking about how I did that poem that was kind of similar to that. I texted him and I was like, oh my God, dude, I need to do more poetry. Like, I need to start doing more poetry. And that was one of the things that it talks about. So cool. Actually, my friend gifted me this guitar. She said she had like 5 guitars. And she's like, you want a guitar? I'm like, oh my God, that would be amazing. Because I've been playing the ukulele and I really want to transition. Because I love the vibes of the guitar. It's such a cool vibe. Oh, you look good, you feel good. That's what my basketball coach used to say. But yeah, so I learned this song. It took me about like a week to get the hang of it, and I've been trying to learn new songs. And I need to get a capo because capos I was like, I had a capo from the ukulele, but it's not as big because the ukulele's freaking chihuahua compared to this thing. Oh God, well, how does it start? Okay. It's as simple as something that nobody knows. That her eyes are as big as her bubbling toes. On the feet of a queen of the hearts of a god. And her feet are covered in top bars and scars. It's just common as something that Nobody knows that our beauty will follow wherever she goes. Up the hill in the back of her house in nowhere. She'll love me forever, I know she would. I remember when you and me, now we used to be just good friends. Wouldn't give me none. All I wanted was some. She's got a whole lot of reasons. She can't think of a single one that can justify me. And he got the money thing, he got so many problems, and I got too much time to waste. His dreams are like commercials, but her dreams are picture perfect. And our dreams are so related, though they're often underestimated. Simple as something nobody knows. That her eyes are as big as her bubbly toes. Her feet are between the hearts of a girl, and her feet are face with top bars. And la da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. This is my favorite part. When I was in lunch at the TLG, when this little girl came, she sat next to me. Never seen nobody move the way she did. When she did it, she does it, she'll do it again. When you move like a jellyfish, rhythm's only nothing. You go with the flow, you don't stop. Move like a jellyfish, rhythm is nothing. You go with the flow, you don't stop. Yeah. God. Oh my
Hell
God.
yeah.
I'm so.
Dude, it's so much better now. It's so great.
This is a video of it. If you guys want to watch it, it's a little bit better because I took like 10 takes. No, I was kidding. But yeah, also one of my big things was I wanted to do vocal exercises. And I think the biggest thing when it comes to that is confidence. Confidence is one of my other big keys to happiness, I think, because confidence brings out, like, we don't hold back. We don't have that fear when you're confident. And I think, especially for you, Jenny, I want you to sing more and be confident in it because we could be a dynamic duo. But because literally, like, I've tried to sing before and I would just be like, and like have
Hell
like
yeah.
guttural sounds. And even if I like sing really loud,
Yeah,
and
like
it's
you
not
hold
perfect,
back so
it's
then you
so
don't
much
sound
better
good.
than when I'm just like kind of like half-assing it, you know. So check out the evolution over the years, because
I should put
that would be
together
so
like a
rad.
video compilation of like all the things
Like,
we've
who
done
knows
like
where?
over the years and how much better it is now. Dude, so badass. And I just want to tell everyone and how fucking sick it is that
Yo,
just because you didn't start an instrument when you were young doesn't mean that you can't start it. Like you literally started playing like 2 years ago
yeah,
and just like
I just
fucking
love the
did it
vibe
and
of
like
the
practice
instrument,
every
and I
day.
guess
Now you
again
can
it
play
goes
the
back
guitar.
to that fear of whatever people think of you, because I was the basketball kid and I was afraid to do it, and I wish like I did theater, and like because like fifth and sixth grade you can't do sports, so I was bored out of my mind, and I should have just picked up like theater or
Me
something.
too.
Now I love like theater and playing music so rad. It was one summer I was just bored, honestly, and I was like, I want to do something, and there was a music shop right next to Alex's apartment, Jenny's boyfriend, and I was like spontaneously like, I'm gonna get it. I didn't care about money, I just got it. And then I just went on YouTube and started learning over time, and it's such a blessing, honestly. That was one of my favorite moments in my life when we played. There was this tribe in Panama. I know we were gonna end this thing like a while ago, but I love the story. There's this tribe in Panama, like these amazing cool outfits, or like barefoot. They go fishing. They fish their own, like make their own food. They don't have any electronics. Like it's a completely different world out there. And going into it, we knew we wanted to give them gifts. So like we went to like the store, got like coloring books and stuff like that. And I remember like I wanted to play the ukulele there, and I was so scared of doing it. Like I was like, I don't want to do it. Like I brought it, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. And then Jenny encouraged me, and then some of the other kids that we were with encouraged me, and it was like the most amazing thing ever. The kids were like playing the ukulele and like dancing. It was literally the most amazing thing ever. And I just, getting outside my comfort zone. It was cool.
Absolutely. And I think that trip in general, the thing is I knew that this trip was going to change your life, so that's why I pushed you so hard to make it work. And luckily the program that we did it through, which is EF Ultimate Break, had like the most amazing payment plan, non-interest payment plan. We were able to go, so I highly recommend checking that out. And, you know, we both were uncomfortable
we
singing in
did,
front of
we
other
did.
people and playing in front of other people, but we would play for our whole group the whole time. Like, it was so
Yeah.
fun. And no matter if we sucked or we messed up or whatever, like, people loved it. It was so fun. Like, so. And I
Like,
remember
fake it till
telling
you
one of
make
the
it, you
people in
know?
the group, I was like, yeah, I've like never done this before. And he was like, what? Like, you seem so, woo! I know.
That was
So.
awesome.
So we will end on that. Thank you so much.
So
that was
long.
so powerful and so
You guys,
full
like,
of
listen to this while you're
wisdom. We
sleeping
talked
or
for so
something,
long.
of
I'm
course.
excited.
Peace
All
out.
right. Well, thanks so much, Andrew. Love you. I'll talk to you.
Cheers. Haha.
Get up, get down. Get up, get down. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm going to leave all of the details we talked about in this episode in the caption below so that you can easily access the links. And now here is a video of Andrew and I playing the ukulele and singing the song Lava from the Disney short To the Embera Tribe in Panama.
Hear the singing all along, turn his line to stone. Said I'll keep it on the brink of extinction. But little did he know, living in the sea below, another volcano was listening to his song. Every day she heard his tune, the lava grew and grew, because she believed this song was meant for her. Now she was so ready, leaving above the sea, as he sang the song alone for the last time. I have a dream, I hope it'll come true. You're here with me, and I'm here with you. I wish that we could see the sky above. Send me some